A very good evening, guys. Welcome to the second episode of ODCA Conversations. In this episode, we have been joined by Ashish Das. To give a brief introduction about him, he happens to be an alumni of our college, Omdal College of Architecture, and he has joined us live from Pune. As you know, this conversation series is not a typical architectural lecture series. Instead, it is aimed to invoke love for architecture amongst the newbies through intensive discussions and knowledge sharing with the seniors, alumni, and the professors. Without any further ado, we will see what Oshizda has in his Pandora's box for us. To start with, I will open up the floor to the students. You can ask the questions.
My first question was, how does, as per you, a design process starts, and how does it evolve as per your definition?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and the following questions were how can, as per you, concept can be explained to a senior or a faculty? And the third question was how can concepts develop and how can nature be a part of it?
Yeah, so the third question I will answer first. So I think like you have asked, like how can nature be part of it? Nature cannot be part of it because nature already exists. We are part of nature. We always think that we precede nature or we are higher than nature, right? But that is not the case. We are part of nature. Nature is the entire thing. So whatever we do affects nature, and hence we should take care of the fact that whatever we do should add to nature, not subtract from nature. So I think that will be that answer for the first question. And the second question was I think related to design and how we can communicate design. So
Yeah,
the first communication that happens is with yourself, right? So any design that you want to design comes from yourself. So I think it is better that before you market it to someone else, market it to yourself. So if you are not convinced that your project is worth it, then I think no one else will be. So I think that is the second answer, which means that if you are trying to portray or convey your design to someone else, if it lacks some points or some efficient points in your design which can actually create a difference in the world, then I don't think anyone else will accept it. If you cannot accept it, then no one else will. So if I am not willing to buy something, why will someone else buy it from me? So that is the scenario here. And the third question he asked, like how a design starts. So we'll see that in a presentation that I have created. So we'll go into that slowly.
so Ashish, one more question that I would ask you in this lineage that the fact that you asked that you should convince yourself based on certain parameters that if your design is feasible or not in that sense. So to begin with, how do I understand that on these parameters my design is feasible and my design makes sense? So can you briefly give some parameters on which I can sort of understand, okay, my design is worth it?
Okay, so for this you will have to consider what you are. Like the person who is designing, what is he? If a fashion designer comes to design something, that man will start from fashion designing sense of point of view. If a businessman starts designing something, he will design that from a business point of view. If a architectural designer starts building something, so everyone has their mother point, and then there are the children points. So the mother point will always be prior and different for each individual. So if I am a Bengali, I will prefer some Bengali thing first than some non-Bengali thing first, right? So that is, I think, what takes priority. So first you will have to define yourself that whether I am a businessman, whether I am a fashion designer, or whether I am an architect, or whether I am a designer or anything else. So I think that will define what you want to do, and then the product will come eventually.
You can ask any questions, anything that you have been struggling with during the first year or the first and second semesters. You can ask anything.
Lala, what are your tips for effective time management in architecture?
Effective time management, it comes through practice first, second through experience, and third by doing it again and again. Because when you do something again and again, you know where your faults are. So it is a completely personal thing, and everyone manages their thing differently. Like someone goes into the bathroom and baths for 1 hour, someone does it for 10 minutes. So there is no like a plus b whole square formula of those things. So it is completely on yourself whether you want to spend 10 hours on something or whether you want to spend just 10 minutes. So I think it will come from experience and doing it over and over. And that is the reason that everything is a process. Nothing is a product. Products are fake because you cannot make anything in one day. It is a continuous process.
That's right. Okay, Ashish, like till the next question comes up, we have got another question in line which talks about the site. You know, when we get a site in the formative years, how do we tackle it? How do we know what the site is conveying to us, and what sort of dialogue that we sort of have with the site?
This is a very interesting question, and আমার মনে হয় যে what we are doing here is a informal conversation, but আমরা যেইভাবে ভাবার চেষ্টা করছি, it is like
Hmm.
too serious about architecture, like using hard words and
Right.
quoting all big architects. I think that should not happen because at this level where first year, second year, third year people, they just want to get inspired by and from architecture. So আমি একদম low level এর কথা বলবো. So যেই কোয়েশ্চেনটা তুই জিজ্ঞেস করলি যে how a site can inspire the building. So the first thing that comes is most of the people don't visit the site. So how can a site inspire you if you don't visit it? How can you fall in love with someone if you don't date him or her? তো এটা হচ্ছে ফার্স্ট পয়েন্ট। তো আমি আমার যখন থিসিস করেছিলাম, আমি যেই সাইটটা চুজ করেছিলাম, it was near to my house, and I went there every 3 days for at least 3 weeks. And after I started the design process, I went there 5 times just to see যে আমি যেটা আমার পেপারে বানাচ্ছি সেটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি সাইটে হবে কি হবে না, বা হলে whether there will be any difference or not, or will it be a good difference or a bad difference. So you have to visit the site at different intervals. Like if you visit it in winter, you will feel something else, and if you visit it in summertime, it will be a complete different experience with a different temperature that your skin is feeling, and that will give you a sense that whether your building or your form or your plan is correct or not. So if you are not going and visiting your site, at different interval through different paths and at different view, then the complete sense of the place is not inside you. Then you just design it because you want to design it. So often what happens is these sites are imaginary. That is the biggest level of problem, because when you have an imaginary site, you don't have a context, and that makes it even more difficult. So এখন কি হচ্ছে, we have like a plot and a boundary, and we are just placing a volume inside it, but what we don't know is what is the nature around it. যেটা হচ্ছে আমি ফার্স্ট অ্যান্সারটা দিলাম যে why nature is important, because if there is sunlight there will be temperature, but এই সানলাইটটা কিভাবে কন্ট্রোল হচ্ছে বা কিভাবে বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, এটা সাইটের মধ্যে থেকে it is not coming out, it is coming out from external factors of the site. So those external factors will have to get included in the site, in your design, so that we can get a sense that these problems are being tackled in your design. And that cannot happen unless you are standing on the border of the site and the external surface. So you will have to be part of both the worlds, inside and outside.
Right. So this was quite interesting to know. Like, you know, even before going into the depth of architecture, using heavy words and going into a more technical aspect, the most fundamental aspect is more like, you know, important for us to know, especially during the formative years, the first, second, and third years. So, a few more questions, guys, you can ask.
Dada, what priorities should be set while making design decisions?
I think the first priority is the program and the brief. If it is not clear, then everything else that follows is lost. Because if there is a sink in the boat, you can never sail to the other side of the river. So first যেটা তোকে দেওয়া হচ্ছে, you will have to verify that whether that is needed or not, and if that is correct or not, and if there is any change or not, বা পরে গিয়ে কোনো change হবে কিনা. So if that changes, the entire design change, right? So if that is not permanent, then how can your design be permanent at the end of the season? So it goes sequentially actually. So let's start the conversation like আমার first year এ কি হয়েছিল বা second year এ কি হয়েছিল,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
so that we can be a little more friendly. Okay, I think they are
Yeah, I
scared
guess
of
we
us.
need to break the ice. Yeah.
আমি আমি সবসময় এটাই বলি that no one is a genius. Genius is the work that he does, okay, or she does. We always exclude this feminine part of our world. So both parts are important, I think. So obviously every architecture student has some experiences যেটা সবসময় same হয়, whether it is a male female first year second year third year বা whether it was in 2017 or it was in 1997. So these experiences will always be same. So first year obviously everyone is confused because they come from a background where architecture is not very well known, and often we don't have conversation about buildings and conversation. Problem is that whenever we talk about this thing, we often refer to something that is old, so we cannot relate to something that is in our age, and that creates a very huge gap. And I think that is the reason that these conversations don't happen. And one major problem in first year that everyone faces is that there's a lot of study material there, and then there is a complete new world of design, and the third world comes of graphics, which is of technical skill of drawing. So এরকম না যে আমি আগের থেকে সব জানতাম. The only people who are at benefit here is the diploma people, because they have already done the
Yeah.
course one. Everyone else who joins this course as a new student of architecture, the first year is very difficult for them, and you don't have to panic about it. So I will even if you are not good at something in the first year, that doesn't mean that you cannot do it, because it's a 5 years course, and at the end of 5 years a lot of things can happen. Even after 5 years you can discover something that can take you on a complete new journey. So first year if you are not like energetic or enthusiastic of architecture, that doesn't mean that there's a problem in you. Maybe there is a problem in the surrounding which is not providing you with enough inspiration to take this as your primary subject. এবারে যদি আমরা second year এ যাই, if you go to the second year, the basic problem is that first year gives you skill, so we have like acquired some of the skills that will allow us to design. The second year we have is like how to design, because the major problem in second year is like how to relate plans with sections and sections with elevations. আমার এই এলিভেশনটা সুন্দর কি করে করব, কিন্তু how will this elevation be relevant in the plan? So all these layers you learn in the second year, and by the end of second year you go through a process of design which allows you to understand যে একটা ডিজাইন প্রসেসের মধ্যে এতগুলো লেয়ার্স হয়. So these layers are given to you for the first time, so obviously no one expects you to perfect it, but it is your job that you take it seriously and take it forward for the third year. So in the third year, the entire, I will say, every year student, every batch student in the third year tries to do something innovative, but I think it is very early for an innovative design because you are still in the learning phase. At least I was also trying to do something innovative, but eventually I found out that it was the wrong procedure, because in the third year you have very less knowledge to do something very creative. Because if you try to do something creative and it doesn't come out, then you are frustrated, so you are actually forcing yourself to make something which you are not capable of. So I think it should not be the case, and you should not feel disheartened if you fail at the third year. But at the fourth year, it's time to be really serious, because it is the last year where you can really learn and earn from the colleges and institutions, because you will never get this much book and this much amount of information from any other institution. Because even if you are studying from internet, you will never get so many books at your hand. You will never get so many expertise that the teachers bring to the college or institutions. You can always go to them and ask a question and get an answer, right? But if you are studying from internet, you will always be in confusion whether to study this or whether to study that. So I think fourth year is the maximum concentration zone where you can put all your queries and questions to all the all the people you believe. It can even be a friend. It doesn't have to be someone higher than you. It can even be a junior who understands the thing better. So people go through experiences which teach them something about life and about architecture. So it can come from anywhere. It can come from a higher zone, it can come from a lower zone. So we need to connect to these people, and that is why we need to keep our egos aside. Because when we have ego, we cannot connect to people. And if we are losing on this connection, we are losing on so many knowledges. So that will be the entire journey, I think.
So, Ashiza, quickly we can cater to two questions that we have in the line. So, the first question is from Jayashri, who asks that since you were telling us regarding visiting the site and things, can you tell us what are the steps to study a site? This is the first question we have, and the second question we have is from Raina, who says, in the world of BIM softwares, why is model making necessary?
You go to the site doesn't start at the site boundary. The site actually start at the road level, because the road takes you to the site, right? So the roads actually don't start at the road level. The roads start at the junctions, and the junctions don't start at the junction level. The junctions come from the vehicle. The vehicles start from the car parking. So it is an entire journey. So you cannot say যে আমি এখন এখানে পৌঁছে গেলাম, so the site starts. Because if there is a traffic jam in front of your site, it is not because your site is clumsy. It is because the entire road is clumsy. So if there is a problem inside your site, it may not be a factor of the site. It might be influence from the surrounding area. So the point is whether you will only study the site and say যে না আমি এর বাইরে কিচ্ছু জানতে চাই না, I don't want to listen and understand anything outside of my boundary. So the first factor is the sunlight that comes, it is not part of your site. So if you want to do an efficient design, you will have to also learn the sun, the azimuth angles and everything. So it is not part of your site. So your learning is not only for the site, your learning is for everything. So এক একটা জিনিস তোকে identify করতে হবে. If I name 5 things, what people will do is only study those 5 things. Then that will become a standard procedure, and people will ignore everything else that is outside of those 5 things. So I don't want to define those 5 things. I want you to explore, because there is not only 5 things, there are more than 5 things. For some it will be 7 things, for some it will be 3 things, for some it will be one thing, and maybe for some it is 100 things. So it is upon you whether you want to study everything, you want to study partially, or whether you want to study nothing.
I feel the most important point over here is to how the conversation can provoke new questions and avenues for the participants over here, and I feel this clearly paved the path. And quickly catering to the last question in the line, in the generation of BIM softwares, do we need model making? What is the use of model making? I mean, I'm sure she's asking about physical model making. So yeah.
Uh, the main factor is we want to reduce time in making something. So আগেও বাড়ি তৈরি হতো, এখনো বাড়ি তৈরি হচ্ছে, right? So what is the difference then? It is not a difference of style, it is not a difference of construction technology. কেন কি লাইম প্লাস্টার এখনো কিছু কিছু বাড়িতে ইউজ হয়, এখনো কনজারভেশন সাইটসে ইউজ হয়, তার মানে কি আমরা এখনো পিছিয়ে আছি? বা কোনো কোনো জায়গায় কনক্রিট দিয়ে বাড়ি তৈরি হচ্ছে, তো আমরা কি খুব এগিয়ে গেছি? No, the problem is, or the main question is, we want to reduce time, right? We don't have enough time, and we want to build multiple projects. So model making was a procedure when we had enough time on our hands. We could invest time in something and really spend 5 or 6 days in making that model. But today we don't have time in our hands, and even we need to make larger projects. So in that scenario, BIM comes into use. And if you have to change something multiple times, then it becomes a headache, and also you are never interested in the process if you are changing it multiple times. So that this BIM software actually reduces these times and make the entire procedure efficient. So if a consultant drawing comes, so you don't have to draw the exact thing again. You can readily incorporate it at the exact second into your drawing. But if it had been an earlier generation or an earlier mode of construction, then you have to sit down, understand the drawing, and then like reflect it in your own model and then construct the entire model again. So it is like repeating the entire procedure multiple times, and if even a single level is wrong or even a single thing changes, the entire procedure again follows. So it is actually like answer to that first question, how to manage time. So these softwares help you manage time because they have some analytics in them which fasten the procedure of this making and remaking of models and architecture.
So we have pretty much broken the ice between Oshizda and the first year students in the session right now. So Oshizda, I think we can jump into the presentation.
Okay, yeah. Name of this presentation is architecture to architecture. So আমরা এই নামটা এই জন্য দিয়েছি because in first year we think that it is architecture that is very casual, and then we slowly move to this stage where it actually becomes architecture, which is a very serious and very meticulous process. So in this entire presentation, I will talk to you about how the architecture of first year can turn into architecture of your entire life. So basically, I would like to introduce myself to everyone present here. So I am basically an alumni of ODGI. I am currently working in a firm in Pune, and I have done some of the projects which are based on a cultural aspect. So I call myself a culturist. Yeah, so the basically I will define your journey in 4 stages. The first stage is the architecture, and the second stage is architecture, because this is the stage where you are asked to do so many models and so many plans and so many things. The third stage is architecture. So this is the stage where you realize that architecture is not only about making buildings. It can be about making graphics, composing shades, and multiple things which doesn't directly relate to a building. And the fourth stage is the architecture stage, where all these that you have gained in these 3 stages will eventually get expressed in the fourth stage. So basically these are the 4 stages. And people ask me like যে কতদিনে I can become a good architect, or what does it take to become a good architect. So the next slide will define you what it takes to become a good architect. So basically আমরা architect 20 বছর পরে হচ্ছি, or we are studying architecture after 20 years. But what we were for 20 years, that matters the most. আমরা প্রথম দিন থেকে we are human beings. So first we should concentrate on being a proper good human being, because if you are not a proper good human being, you can never do a good architecture, because architecture is always a reflection of yourself. If you are not good inside, the good architecture will never come out. No matter how much you learn design, no matter how much you learn material, and no matter how much you learn the technicality. So the first task you have at hand is to become a good human being, and like behave properly with your friends, and choto choto জিনিসে মারপিট and all these things. This will not take you very far away in life. So the first job is to become a good human being, and the second job then will be to become a good architect. This architect is a part of this human being. It is not like a separate thing. So it will come from that human being. So এই page লেখা আছে that architecture is a 5 years course. Not more, not less. Truly it is. Use each second. A second skipped is an architect miscarriage. So I would like to explain to you what this actually means. That everyone thinks that an architect learns throughout his life. I actually don't believe in this process of entire life being an architecture lesson. Architecture you learn only in 5 years. But the problem is we don't complete these 5 years. We go out with your friends and hang out, and we waste time and we bunk classes. So actually this 5 years course is never completed. So it gets elongated and elongated. And that is the reason why it takes an entire lifetime to understand architecture. So if you can utilize every second of this 5 year, So let's say if you are sleeping for 8 hours per day, that 8 hours is lost from 5 years. So that way 8 hours into 365 days in 1 year is lost. So if you can utilize that entire 5 year and each and every second you can utilize, then you can learn architecture in 5 years. So if you have not learned architecture in 5 years, it means that somewhere 1 or 2 seconds are missing. So you have to find those seconds and learn those architecture in those moments. So if you can go through this rigorous process of 5 years, for some people it can take 5 years, for some people it can take 10 years, for some people it can take 20 years. It depends on you whether you want to complete that 5 years in 5 years or not. So I think that is a very important point that each and every student should understand, that these 5 years of architecture is always 5 years course. It only depends on you যে আমরা কতটা skip করে করে এই 5 বছরটা complete করছি. So this slide is actually about a story, a very simple story, which is about a village. একটা খুবই ছোট village ছিল একটা river-এর পাশে. So this village was full of fishermen যারা মাছ ধরতে যেত. So this village had, different kind of fishermen যাদের অনেক different kinds of dreams ছিল. So the first para speaks about fishermen who went to the river, learned their skills and lived there forever. The villagers called them great fishermen. The second school of fishermen went to the sea, perfected their skills and sometimes came back to their family. The villagers called them legendary fishermen. And the third group of fishermen went to the ocean, sacrificed all their skills and went to discover the unknown. The villagers called them mad fishermen. So you see that whenever you do something, there are 3 stages: great, legendary, mad. And with each category there are some benefits and there are some cons. So it depends on you whether you want to fish in the river or whether you want to fish in the sea, accepting all the challenges that comes in the sea, or whether you want to go beyond the sea into the ocean, into the unknown, not for fishing but for something else, maybe to find a new land, to discover a new land. So it depends on you what you use your skills in and how you see this world, whether you see this world as a small river where you spend your entire life, whether you see a sea as a small world, whether you spend your entire life, or you go beyond the seas and beyond the oceans where you find an entire new life. So it depends on every individual. So এই ইমেজটাতে যেটা দেখা যাচ্ছে যে there is one teeth missing. So some people might take this as absurd or not very nice or ugly, but absence is something that helps you create or adjust or make alterations to a system. একটা দাঁত না থাকলে আমরা কিন্তু খাওয়া বন্ধ করে দেবো না. We won't wait for the teeth to grow back or else we will die, right? So this image portrays that if something is missing, we won't stop the entire process. We'll keep the process running, but we'll find a way to manage how without being that element in that system we can progress the system, how we can jugar, create a jugar for that entire process so that the process can survive. So this is basically written in this slide that absence is not the end. Absence is the new beginning and it will give you the new program. So it will give you that without even the teeth you can even eat. So it is not only necessary to have teeth to eat. So the function of the teeth gets rejected in this logic. So এরপরে কিছু স্লাইডে আমি এটাই বোঝাবো যে I did a project where the entire process was important and the product was not. So আমরা যদি একটা বিল্ডিং এর থেকে পুরো প্রোগ্রামটাই সরিয়ে দিই and make those buildings programless, then what will happen? আমরা কি আর্কিটেকচারটাকে একটা নিউ সিস্টেমে দেখতে পারবো, or will we be able to see architecture in new light or experience architecture in new light if the program is not there? Because আমরা যখন ডিজাইন করি সবথেকে বড় প্রবলেম যেটা ক্রিয়েট করে that is the program, because we have to put 4 rooms, 5 toilets, 2 staircases, 5 lifts. So this become too heavy on our mind, and to relate this program to an architectural theory and then to a form becomes a very very hard process. So what I did was reject this program and completely delete this program from a building, and then tried to see how a building can grow without a program. So every project is an outcome of a vigorous data biology. So I asked Shuchet for some questions, and he came to me with the question that je concept ki kore banabo, and how will I portray this concept to someone else or even to my friend. So যেটা আমি এখানে বলতে যাই that concept is a myth. কনসেপ্ট বলে কিছু হয় না, এটা আমাদের মাথায় ঢোকানো হয় that you'll have to think of a concept just to market yourself. This is a marketing strategy. You don't think of a leaf and make a building. বাড়ি বানানোর সময় একটা পাতা দেখে বাড়ি বানানো হয় না, বাড়ি বানানোর সময় তার বিম, কলম, ফাউন্ডেশন এগুলো দেখে বাড়ি বানানো। সো অনেকেই এটা জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারে যে দেন হোয়াট ইজ আ কনসেপ্ট, বা এই যে এত লোকে এত কনসেপ্ট বলে বা এক্সপ্লেন করে, দেন তারা মিথ্যে কথা বলছে না whether there is really a concept. So concept is nothing but a way of designing, right? It can be true, it can be false, it can be completely useless. It is helping that person to make that design. এটার সাথে ডিজাইনের কোনো রিলেশন নাও থাকতে পারে। So people want to start a process, but they don't know how to start a process, so they create a concept, and based on that concept they create the entire story. But at the end of the story, the concept might be entirely wrong, and hence the process might be entirely wrong. Let's say আমি একটা চোখ দেখে চোখের হসপিটাল বানাচ্ছি, so I am putting the shape of the চোখ in that hospital, but it is completely useless কেন কি ওই চোখের শেপটা will not help me in any way. So that entire concept of a চোখ being a form, or maybe a layout of plan, becomes completely useless. Again, if we talk about je I have seen a concept in Western architecture and I want to bring that to Eastern architecture. So that might be completely wrong, because people might not, understand that kind of concept here, because they are not exposed to those kind of concepts. So bringing that concept here is completely, a marketing strategy. That marketing strategy may not work here. So I was watching a series called Thinkistan. So in that Thinkistan, there were two characters. One was from an urban area, who is like a really posh boy, and who is extremely fluent in English, and he looks at all those new technology and new things. And then there was this second character, which is like who has just came to the city, and he is looking at city with a village eye, and he tries to understand the city through his own eye. But the problem is he has all the anecdotes of a village. He speaks in Hindi, and he has the mentality of a villager, and he even thinks in the village term, slow technology and everything like that. So the problem is when this urban guy tries to create an advertisement for a village product, he fails. But he is good at everything. He's good at English, he's good at technology, he's good at scripting and everything. But still he fails, because some concepts which run in the urban sector may not be relevant in the rural sector. So concept is a myth. Concept doesn't apply to everything. If you think that a concept will apply to everything, it is a lie. So then what can help our design? So I would like to elaborate the process of data biology. Data biology is the reality, because everything you do is actually a figure, a data, and a data cannot lie. Your height cannot be a lie. Your height is the materiality. Sunta edik diye utche, sunta oidike dubche. It cannot be a lie. It cannot be fabricated. It cannot be, fantasized. It cannot be an imaginary thing. A flat earth is an imaginary thing. A round earth is the original thing. As a concept, flat earth is very good, but it is not practical. So the moment you look at the practicality of the thing, this concept goes away. So why we are choosing the round earth over a flat earth? Because it has a data biology. It matches all the data that we have in science. So what I want to say is that every design process is a data biology. It is origin of data, processing of data, and extinction of data. So if you get these three stages correct, and if you have all the data in the process, then you don't need a concept at all. You can just make anything and it will be correct, it will be relevant, and it will be completely accepted by people without having, a fantasizing story behind it. But the problem is people don't want to spend that much time in data collection and data processing, because it has to be a, products are a outcome of a process. So this data collection, data processing, and data extinction, this is a process. This is not a product. You cannot copy it from somewhere else, or you cannot copy it from someone else's project. So this process is very lengthy, and this might take years or even, decades. So this, to, avoid this process of extremely going through the data, we try to, manufacture a marketing procedure, and this marketing procedure takes you through in your journey. Sometimes the marketing procedure is very efficient, but at times it might fail, vehemently. This conceptual procedure which I was dealing with for years, maybe for why did it fail at the end of 10 years? Because it was a tested process similar, but it failed at the end of 10 year, or maybe at the end of 20 years. And now you don't know how you will take this process forward. But if you go through the data biology process, you will never fail, because you are analyzing data, and data is the future. Everyone is analyzing data, from Facebook to Google to everyone. Yes. So these are the projects which I am talking about. This is a project, a series of projects where I, excluded the programs from the architectural buildings, and then I tried to explore that if we take out all the programs, what the buildings can be. So this is a landscape project where, there are series of walls. In fact, if there were some programs, it could have been incorporated inside these walls. But currently there are no programs. So this is like, some freestanding walls in the landscape. So these walls now have a character because of these apertures. But these apertures mean nothing now, because this is programless. It has no program inside it, but it is actually responding to an eternal program. What is this eternal program? There are immediate programs and there are eternal programs. What are the eternal programs? Eternal programs are the things that have lived beyond the age of the building, and immediate programs are the things that live in the age of the building. বিল্ডিংটা ভেঙে গেলে যে প্রোগ্রামগুলো ইনভিজিবল হয়ে যাবে, সেইগুলো হচ্ছে ইন্টারনাল প্রোগ্রামস অর ইমিডিয়েট প্রোগ্রামস। আর এই বিল্ডিংটা ভেঙে যাওয়ার পরেও যেই প্রোগ্রামগুলো এর ভেতর দিয়ে চলতে থাকে, ইটার্নাল প্রোগ্রামস। ফর এক্সাম্পল, আমরা যে এই রুইন্স বা এইসব পুরোনো বাড়িতে ঘুরতে যাই, যেগুলোতে এখন আর কেউ থাকে না বা কিছুই হয় না, কোনো অ্যাক্টিভিটিস হয় না, বাট উই স্টিল ভিজিট দেম, because tourism is an eternal program, because these old buildings never die. So we are always fascinated by this kind of, programs. These eternal programs fascinate us. Immediate programs like APR, ground coverage, materiality, এই জিনিসগুলো, they don't impress you for long. If you look at the structure, you will see that air can pass through this structure, and air has no age. So in fact, when the air occupies this building is also ageless. So a programless building is always ageless. কিন্তু আমরা এই বিল্ডিং গুলোর এজ গুলোকে কমিয়ে দিই কিভাবে? আমরা এগুলোকে ডিফাইন করি অ্যাজ এ প্রোগ্রাম, যে এখানে স্কুল থাকবে, স্কুলে 10টা ক্লাসরুম থাকবে, আর এই ক্লাসরুম গুলোতে এই কটাই বাচ্চা থাকবে। So these buildings, become so tiny in their, ambition, যে এগুলো একটা সার্টেন এজের পরে আমাদেরকে আর ইন্সপায়ার করে না, বা these buildings don't go beyond certain age. 50 বছর পরে এই বিল্ডিং গুলোকে ভেঙে দেওয়া হয়। কেন কি লোকে বলে যে আফটার, certain days a modern structure has come up, so we need to bring modern concepts and modern buildings into this society. This is because we never had this eternal program in the building. এই বিল্ডিং গুলো কোনোদিনই ইটার্নাল প্রোগ্রামের জন্য বানানোই হয়নি। It was made for an immediate program. Once the immediate program is fulfilled, these buildings don't serve anything else. So once that immediate program is perished, these buildings, even if they are standing perfectly, these buildings are useless. And you will see that in Calcutta and many other cities, there are perfectly good heritage buildings and many old buildings which are perfectly good in structure, but somehow they don't serve people anymore. And this is the first slide that I was talking about, Jay, we have to serve people, we have to be good people. And if we don't become good people, we will not be able to serve the people of the future. Sustainability is a very basic concept in serving the people of the future. আমরা শুধু আজকের জন্য ভাবছি, ইমিডিয়েট প্রোগ্রামস এর জন্য ভাবছি, কালকের প্রোগ্রাম বা ইটারনাল প্রোগ্রামস এর জন্য ভাবছি না। সো অনলি সাস্টেনেবল কিছু প্রোডাক্ট ইউজ করলে বা গ্রিন আর্কিটেকচার ইউজ করলে, গ্রিন হাউস এফেক্টস আটকানোর যে এইগুলো ইউজ করলে, you will not be able to create a very nice or eternal building. This will be a very limited building if you use all this material, or if you use the LEED certified products. It will not make your building eternal. Eternal is made by air, light, and all those things. It is not made by any certification. So this is again an exploration of the same procedure of programless, where a building is standing and there is no program. So you can see that again at night, these buildings come out differently than when we see them at sunlight, because at sunlight, in sunlight, these buildings perform in a different way, and at night these buildings perform in a different way. The artificial light is the light of the future, because at earlier times there were no artificial light. So the entire concept of a building being illuminated at night was missing earlier. But as we are moving towards the future, we are creating a new sun. And this new sun will create a new eternal procedure, or a new eternal building, or a new eternal concept. So this artificial light will someday be as powerful as the natural sunlight. And then these buildings will be powerful even at night, not only at day. So currently we are designing buildings based on daylight factor and everything that is happening in the day. But someday we will be building buildings that will perform only at night, not at day. And I think with the temperature rise, this day is not far away. So you can see that in sunlight we only have the natural color. So if there is a material, that material has a color, and that material gets reflected in sunlight, right? But with artificial light, we can give them different kinds of light which are not inherent properties of that material. So it will create more character and more identity for the building that was initially there in the material. And this will lead to change in the mood and create a new environment at night. So I think this will take the architectural industry to a new level, because this artificial light has so much potential and so much energy that somewhere this monotonous sunlight is lacking. So again, this light can be used in different datums, and these datums can create a different level of experience for people. It can bring out different forms, it can bring out different characters. Sunlight always has this one intensity, some sufficient or some certain amount of lux in it. But in this artificial light, we can change the lux, modify the lux, and give pattern to it, and create all sorts of things. It is not an omni light. We can create different modes of light through artificial light. So as you can see in this building, the lights are at different levels, and both the lights are different, and hence give the building a completely new character. So when we perceive this building in daylight, it will be completely different. And when we perceive them in the darkness, it will give a completely new knowledge of the building. And this will change. This will change the entire concept of architecture thereafter. And it can only happen if we reduce the program. If we, exclude the program from this building. Because if you put a program in it, people will, turn on task light, and then this everything will become monotonous, because everyone will turn on their lights and will do the same thing, and then the character of the building will not get expressed. So this was a building where the entire skin is made up of mesh. So this building actually don't have any permanent skin, or closed skin. So the air enters, the light enters, and everything enters. And even because there is no program as such, you can perceive the entire skeleton of the building in this form. As you can see, everything is without being a glass. building is translucent and transparent. So often we see that this translucent character is attributed to glass. So the character of the glass can actually be translated through other materials, and that is what we need to explore. Because when we make a office building, we often think that glass is the only material. Glass is the only material that we can use in an office building. But there are other modes or other materials that can help us, achieve this translucency, allow light to enter our building. So this building was exploration of that thought. So we will start with a new project here. So the series that I was talking about, the program list, it was up to that last slide. This is a completely new project where we explore the activity of bathing. We often think that bathing is a normal activity which we do during a day, and we just forget it. But actually, if you look into your daily life, this bathing is a very important procedure. I actually created project out of this bathing activity because often bathing is attributed to this cleansing method, cleansing of self. But it is not only the body, but also about the mind and everything else. So this bathing can be a metaphor for cleansing everything. I will explain to you the entire project that I did based on this simple fact that bathing is not only physical, bathing is a spiritual process. So basically, in this project, we were asked to create something out of shipping containers or small boxes, and we were given a very small space. And we were asked to create a project out of these shipping containers. So these shipping containers have been used in multiple projects throughout the world. Which cater to residential projects, which cater to office kind of projects, or which cater to shift architecture, shift and movement architecture, where you can take this container somewhere and build something, and then again dispatch from there and take it somewhere else. This project is based on the fact that we go on voyages through these pilgrimage sites, and we dip ourselves in these rivers and waterfalls and all this sort of. So while we are going to these sacred sites, we can actually have a meditation center at an intermediate point. And often these sacred sites are at mountainous places. So it is very difficult to build something permanent, take materials there, and create an efficient architecture there. And again, these pilgrimage voyages do not continue throughout the year, so it is very temporal and it is very diurnal. So it might happen in winter and it might not happen in summer. So building a permanent sort of architecture is a very inefficient way of handling the program. So what we created here was take some shipping container and put it inside, or in the path of a waterfall. So this water that comes through this waterfall and small streams pass through these water containers and go down into this stream. So what this building does is in no way hinders the process of the waterfall. So what it does is it gives you an experience without destroying nature. So like I have experienced in my first slide that nature is very important. You need to respect it and you need to cater to it. So earlier in the waterfalls, there are stones and there are very slippery surfaces. We cannot have that experience of reaching to the waterfall. We are unable to reach inside the waterfall. So by placing these containers inside the waterfall, we created a space which can allow you to, understand and experience the sound of waterfall by standing inside it. So the water falls in front of you. You can hear actually nothing but the sound of waterfall. So this enormous sound of waterfall takes you to a meditative state, makes you pure and makes you an individual. You do not communicate with the other person sitting in this space. So just by placing a container there, we are actually changing the entire meaning of a waterfall, and we are actually creating an experience which was earlier missing in the waterfall. So architecture not always means that you have to create something massive or something very iconic or anything like that. It has to be an adjective to the noun. There was a noun called waterfall, and we added an adjective called a very nice waterfall. So this very nice can only come from the experience you have at this waterfall. So if you have a bad experience at the waterfall, it will be a very bad waterfall. And if you have a good experience at the waterfall, it will be a very good waterfall. And architecture's job is to, cater to this adjective there. So I think what we created here is a space and an adjective, nothing more than that. Not an icon, not a futuristic architecture or anything like that. So if someone says that this thing might hinder the, the entire stream of water or anything like that, you can just remove the shipping container and it can be, that natural stream of water again. So again, we are looking at the sustainability concept of building architecture. Sustainability doesn't always mean that you have to build with brick or bamboo. It can be as harsh as a shipping container, and it can even be sustainable. Again, if you look at the technical aspects of a shipping container, what it does is it has a coating which is used in the shipping container to prevent it from getting a rust. So if you are using a shipping container, you don't have to use any paint or anything extra or any other finish. So you are reducing the cost and everything else that goes in any other building as a finished material. So just by placing a simple box, you rejected everything that is happening in today's architecture. And even in the process of thinking, become futuristic without actually doing anything futuristic. So basically, the next project deals with the, geography as an art form and as an architecture. We often talk about architecture as building. We often talk about architecture as building something artificial. But what we will see here is the building of land, and coming up of mountains and forests and river is also an architecture of the land. And this gives way to enormous cities and urban zones. So actually, building a city is a design of geography, and this art of geography can also be translated into artificial architecture. This project is an art and craft center which basically deals with West Bengal's art and craft. But if you go a little back, you will see that the West Bengal today was not the West Bengal in the past. It was just a plateau. And this plateau was not there thousands of years ago. It was, entire ocean there. And this mountain came up, which became the Himalaya. And this Himalaya then provided the water and the river to, make this entire plateau fertile. And when this entire plateau became fertile, all the human beings started coming here, and they became from, hunter gatherers, they became, farmers, and these farmers became settled, and these settled farmers started this entire process of art and craft. So this art and craft today that you are seeing is a process started by the Himalaya, by the formation of Himalaya. So when I was designing this project, I was not thinking about the pots and crafts and anything else. I was just thinking about the environment that will lead to such a generation of craft, will lead to, a kind of inspired people who want to do craft. So these people are inspired by the environment. So I had to create something which will reflect this environment. The master right hand side, it portrays that Himalaya range. So the entire arc on the eastern side of our country, সেই arc represent করা হয়েছে on the right hand side, and all these small, individual hills are the Western Ghats and all those things, which are like individual zones in the plateau. And the entire flat region inside is that, plateau region or the plain region where this art and craft is created. So এই পুরো জিওলজিটাকে আমরা যখন একটা প্রজেক্টে লাগাচ্ছি, it is leading to forms and again leading to spaces which can, bring that inspiration, যেটা আমাদেরকে, for hundreds of years inspire করেছে in a country. It can even inspire you inside a site. So এই যে এই মিডিয়ামটা আছে বা এই যে ক্রিয়েশন অফ স্পেসেস গুলো এর ভেতরে হচ্ছে, this can lead to very interesting and inspiring spaces. Now at this level you can say যে এটা তো শুধু একটা concept. How can you say that this will create inspiring spaces. I can say that this will create inspiring spaces because in West Bengal, if you ask anyone that whether they have been to Darjeeling, they will always say yes. Everyone in daily life wants to go to Darjeeling because that is the only space for, you know, relaxation. And this was also a space for relaxation. So AJ connection to that we are going to the Himalayas for relaxation and we are also coming here for relaxation. It has a direct connection. It is not a concept. এটা কোনো মানে ভেবে বের করা জিনিস না. It is actually happening in real life. So when I give you this in a small scale, you will go there. It is a view from the other side of the campus. If you see that the exact facade of the Himalaya building, which is actually a museum block, it shows the mural of the Himalaya casted in concrete. So I am actually giving you hint that this is Himalaya. And also from the spatial arrangement, you start, you know, understanding that this has some resemblance with a mountain and a range and all those sort of things. So I am trying to build in you the experience of the Himalaya in a very plain section of land, so that helps you gain those memories. A city is all about memories. So if you take this example that you can incur memories in people to bring in them the joy and the happiness and also the experience. This is a project about perspective and architecture. So this project deals with Satyajit Ray and his works and his contribution to the film industry. So often what we see is that when we go to cinema halls, these cinema halls are either part of a larger system, which are either malls or some other kind of buildings. So these cinema halls are always hidden and never expressed in the main building. So these are like a backdrop of the main building. So what I tried to create here was like an entire cinema center which will express itself in all forms and not be a part of any other kind of building. So if you are not a part of any other collection or any other mixed use kind of a building, you can express yourself completely. So that is what we tried to express in this project. You will see that a cinema is about multiple views or multiple perspective because the camera always keeps on moving. One time it is pointing at one actor and the next moment it is pointing at the supporting actor. The third moment it is pointing at the building. The fourth moment it is pointing at a glass or things like that or objects. So always the perspective keeps on moving. So in architecture we are taught there is 1 point perspective, there are 2 point perspective, there are 3 point perspective, and there is this continuous matrix of perspective that keeps on moving. So if you look at this building is actually the campus is divided into 3-4 parts. So in that way the campus gives you a multiple perspective of the same piece of land. Again, if you look at the volumes, they are almost similar but unique in their own features. So it tells you that even the similar volumes can have different perspective and different, you know, identities. And again, the programs, this is a I would like to say that this is a, you know, project where the program is there. So you will have to understand that each volume is not independent. They are part of a program. So these programs actually dictate the volume. These programs actually dictate the identity of the volumes and hence they give character to the volumes. So each volume has its own character and identity because of the programs that are inside it. It is not something that is, you know, conceptual or that is something that I want to give it. It is already there in the program and the program is actually demanding this, you know, intensity of character and intensity of aesthetics and intensity of expression. So again, this program sometimes dictate the volume to go up, sometimes dictate the volume to stay grounded, sometimes dictate the vegetation to come forward, sometimes dictate the vegetation to go backward, sometimes dictate the colors to be brighter, sometimes dictate the colors to be darker. So that is why it is very essential to have the brief and understand the program to its last word, because that way that is actually the starting and the ending point of your design. So you can see that a design is not just an image, not just a, you know, a really good image or a really good facade. It deals with so many things in itself that even if the facade is not beautiful, even if the materials are not very modern, still it is still an architecture in the making. What you need to understand is that the process is very important. It doesn't matter whether you make an iconic building or not, because the person doing architecture in a village or building something in a village is also creating architecture, and a designer architect who has studied for 5 years and making building is also making architecture. So then architecture is not something that is materialistic. Architecture is something that is in the process. So if you go through the process correctly, it doesn't matter how the building looks or how it is made or what style it refers to. It will still be connected to architecture. So every piece of building is a piece of architecture. The only difference is how good it is. So it says that it might be the last page of this presentation, but it is not the end. It is just the beginning. And this is from where you will start your journey, where you will take, cues and, start innovating or start actually designing. And you will just do things in your own way and you will try to express things. Conducting such a session at a period like this, Suchet asked me to, inspire you guys. But you guys inspire me more because you are doing such a session at, such a lockdown period. So I believe that all of you can do, very inspiring and very innovative and very new kind of things with the studies and things you are learning at colleges and schools. Because you see, in the subsequent episode, you will see that lot of your seniors are doing different kind of things, and they are doing it in a different way and their own way, and it doesn't have to be in the same procedure that someone has done in the past. So you can take cue from all these seniors and just take the realization and go ahead and do your own thing. You might like to do something in your own way. So I would like you to express your own inner energies and understand that this is not something that is a one way procedure. It can go on in multiple ways and it can take many expressions. It is not a one dimensional thing. So I think that will be all from my side.
That's amazing, Oshisa. After the entire session, all I can tell you is like this was a little more than what I would say spellbounding, because even after being in fourth year, it seems like I'm getting to know the entire domain of architecture in a broadly new way. In fact, like the way you talked about concept being a myth, and then you sort of talked about the waterfall being a noun and very nice being an adjective. So how to ponder on that adjective. So it was really amazing to know these sort of perspectives and how geology can become sort of a guiding line in your architecture, and how that can open up avenues for the new buds. So it was really amazing. I would open up to the students out here. If you guys have any question to Ashista after the entire presentation, you can ask him. Okay, Ashista, till anybody asks any question, I would like to word forward in the sense that what do you think, like, the very fact that you used that mountain mural on that, wall in your that art and crafts project over there, and you say that it sort of gave an idea as if it's the right hand side of the country, the hills and all. So can you please tell, was that a form of abstraction that you used?
I would say that everything is an abstraction. If you draw, anything you draw is an abstraction because it is not real. So
Okay.
there are methodologies of abstraction that cubism is a form of abstraction. Surrealism is a form of abstraction. So there are different forms of abstraction. So if you say that this is a particular form, I don't think this is a particular style or form. But I would say that I had to simplify it, that I cannot make an actual parametric Himalaya there, right? Because we
Right.
have to take into account that our technology, our economy, and the location we are making it is not that much efficient compared to the entire world's ecosystem
Right.
of our. So I have to make something that is feasible, and again it portrays the concept of, not the concept but the image of Himalaya. So the very basic thing that you can do is draw an arc and extrude it. So that is what I did.
Right.
There is no slant portion or anything like that that relates to a Himalaya. So it is like the most basic form that you can create out of a Himalaya or a Himalayan arc range. So that is like
Right.
the minimal you can do. If you go even lower than that, I think it won't relate to the Himalaya. So I think that is the most basic form.
And one more thing, like you talked about how the immediate and the eternal programs come into play, right? So, do you think that every building should be eternally programmed and then some immediate programs would fit in? And again, when the immediate programs are done with it, then it would become eternal. Is that sort of a thing that you tried to mean?
We were doing a project in Maidan of Calcutta, and the
Hmm.
project was again a temporary project because in Maidan we cannot build anything because it is a army controlled area. So if you want
Right.
to build anything permanent, you have to take permission from the army. So the question was, what do we project there? Do we want to project the architecture itself or do you want to project the nature? So if you look at nature, you will see that nature never ages because it
Right.
is renewing every day. It is a living organism. So you don't have to, you cannot say that it is getting destroyed or it getting aged. But the moment you build even a brick or a foundation or a wall, it will age. So if you look at the hierarchy, nature
Hmm.
is always at the top because it never ages. It is always 1 day old, and anything you build ages and it becomes 100-year old and it becomes inefficient in performing the functions it does. So I will always say that if you keep nature as a part of your design, it will always be eternal. But the moment you reject nature, and the amount of nature a site has will determine whether it is eternal or not.
That's right.
So the concept that architecture is actually about built environment and buildings
Hmm.
is again a fake or a misconceptualized thing. So if we are
Okay.
building nature, it also means architecture because we have landscape architecture.
Right.
So does that mean that if you are doing landscape architecture, you are not doing architecture? No.
No.
Even that is a format of architecture.
I see. Guys, anybody has any question, you can ask Oshinsa. He's here for a while, and in a while we will be ending the episode, so you can ask. After is saying that he already answered so many of our questions. So, yeah, in fact, one thing, the best part about the entire session is that, he opened up avenues, and the fact that he said that these are just tips and bits of his exploration, and he is encouraging you all to get into the format of exploration and not just get into a stereotypical framework, operate within it. So it's really true. Fine. Thank you, Arzizda. This is the end. I guess we can end the episode over here. Thank you so much for joining. Hope to have more such conversations.
I think I also enjoyed the entire episode because I have been in the working sector now, and
Hmm.
this kind of conversations are very rare. I think some of the conversation is happening, but again, it is a very boring kind of conversation where exploration is
Right.
always kept on the side, and again, practicality is
Right.
often talked about. So I think we should explore more. There will be mistakes. Always there will be mistakes because exploration is always about failing. And I think failing is a great lesson. Failure is a great lesson. And only failure and success, a mixture of both failure and success can take us forward. So thank you all for joining in. So thank you, Suchet.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you so much, Oshida. And so, thank you guys for joining. We are ending the session right here. Hope you have a great day, great quarantine period, and keep exploring and start creating and continue it. So, thank you, guys.